Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? What I'm looking at here. Yeah. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing today? All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Because I keep saying I have to get new headphones. I have to get a new Rodcaster. I already ordered my ether cord. I have to bring in a techie person. So I just want to make sure that my audio is aligned with my lips as I'm talking. And if it kind of glitches out throughout the show, it's okay. It's okay. I'm working on restructuring the channel. So happy Monday, guys. Now, usually me and the judge do the Man Up Monday, but his house is under construction. He had a pipe bust or something. So he has contractors, estimates. He's dealing with that. So he can't go live this week. Hopefully we could record something Thursday, for Injustice for All. But it's kind of difficult for him right now to go live because he got a whole bunch of stuff going on in his house because of home repair. So you have me tonight. And honey, we got to talk about the black jobs. Tabitha Brown, Lisa Cook, Trump getting threats from the so-called Chicago gangs. And we got to talk about, that savage in Charlotte, the savage in Maryland, and the savage in Cincinnati. Yeah. What else? What else I got on my list? So I won't forget, honey. Yeah, and there's some illegals being arrested, some South Koreans, we're gonna dibble in that a little bit. But first, guys, please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like this video, like the stream. And I want everybody to share the stream on your social media outlets. So share it, like it, comment in the live chat or comment in the comment section below. And so let's get into it. So the first thing I do want to say, because I usually have a monologue, but I don't know, I didn't really make the time to think of a monologue, but you know what my monologue is going to be? I have to give a shout out to Sabi Sap. I was going through my emails the other day, and she sent me an email mid-August saying, congratulating me, just giving me props on a video that I did about Dr. Cornel West and Norman Finkelstein. I think I'm saying his name right. And I incorporated Sister Soldier. And that video got a lot of views. And so she told me in an email, she liked the video. She mentioned it to Cornel West. And she mentioned me on her platform. And she was like, good job. And I just seen it yesterday or Sunday. So I missed her email from like weeks ago. So I want to give a big, big, big shout out to Sabi Sap. I remember watching her way before she even got 100K. I think before she even got 50K, I was watching her. And I'm really proud of her and her progress. She was consistent. And that is the key to success, is just being consistent. So to see where she started to now, and she's always been very respectful and nice to me. So yeah, thank you, Sabi, for the email. And I'm sorry it took me forever to reply because I just seen it. Sorry. I gotta get better with that. And yeah, so shout out to Sabi Sap. Doobie doobie doo. I like that. So yeah, I'm gonna start off talking about Tabitha Brown. Let's get right into it, right? Because Tabitha Brown, she is an entrepreneur and an actress, and she went viral talking about people need to get a job, especially because entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and it's not for everybody. But I'm going to push back a little bit against Tabitha Brown because she was putting out this misconception that Black people or Americans in general are not working or don't work or putting all of their time and energy into trying to open up a business. And I totally disagree. I totally disagree with that. So I want to share the actual clip that went viral. And then we're going to get into the black job, well, the job report that came out. We have to get into that. Okay, here we go.
Hello there. Real quick. That this is not to discourage you, because I want us to be clear about that first. Okay? Um, you gotta been in this place for a long time. Okay? Now listen, you got good ideas. Baby, you got good ideas. Your execution is not as good. Okay? Your follow through, not as good. The ideas though are great. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that doesn't mean it's not for you. But right now, these last few months, few years, you know what I'm talking about. Baby, it ain't been working for you, okay? And you doing a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Okay, you done got yourself in some mess, and it's time for you to get a job. You hear me? You just gonna need to get a job for a little while. Okay, it don't mean your ideas ain't good. Okay, don't mean that maybe one day you could be a good entrepreneur. But you have proven to yourself and everybody else that you owe money to, okay, that it ain't working right now. Okay, it ain't worked for a while. It actually has never worked yet. Doesn't mean it won't ever work. But right now you need to go to work. You gonna need to get a job, okay? And then keep working towards it. But at least you'll have a job while you are pursuing that thing. But right now, you need to get a job, baby. All right? That's it. I love you. Now go about your business. Okay, have a good night. Tomorrow have a good day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. Don't be mad at me. Okay?
Okay, can you guys hear me? Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing with her. Where do you get off thinking that people are not working? Who is she talking to? Are you talking to black women? Are you talking to black people? Are you just talking to people in general? Are you talking to maybe a select few of people you know personally that is just jumping out without looking, into the entrepreneurship world? Like, who is she talking to? Hi, Walter. If you are talking to black women, you're wrong. And this is where I don't like anything she said. I disagree with everything she said because she is bringing on this misconception that black people are not working. She did not say black. I'm just going to assume she meant black, and I'm going to assume she meant black women. But Americans are working. But see, that job report just came out. It is not looking good for black people. It's not looking good for a lot of Americans. Only 22,000 jobs were created in the month of August. Under the Biden administration into the Trump administration, first quarter this year, 300,000 black women were laid off. And a lot of those jobs was in the federal government. Black women work a lot every day. And then they also may have a side business. A lot of Americans, not just black ones, but a lot of Americans have a side hustle because you need a side hustle. Some people have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, a full-time and a part-time. So who is she talking to? Go get a job because entrepreneurship is not working for you? Are you talking to a 21-year-old that really don't have no responsibilities and they just throwing themselves out there without doing the research and the groundwork? Now, I respect I respect her hustle, because people look at Tabitha Brown as if, you know, she's always been successful. People like to look at the finishing project, the finishing touches, and not the struggles. She's come a long way. She had to sacrifice. She had to work her ass off to get to where she's at. So I give her credit for that. And I know she is talking from experience. I know she's talking from experience. Honey, you have to work in America. You have to. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you're going to be cold and living out on the street. A lot of people get hurt because they're not working, because they get into other things. So you have to work. So I'm just trying to figure out, who are you telling to get a job? Who is delusional? Who is delusional to think that they could just be an entrepreneur today and don't have to never work a 9 to 5, unless they were born into family wealth or the family business. And even that's work. So I totally disagree with what she said, because everybody is working. And if they're not working, that's because they got laid off and they're unemployed, or they're looking for work. So who are you talking to? And the reason why I'm assuming that she's talking to Black women or Black people is because, when it's about DEI, when it was about Target, she released a video, talking about how the business of Target and getting your product on the shelves. She was speaking Black, and she speaks Black a lot, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I think that's a valid question. Who are you talking to? Who is not working? Because mothers are working, men are working or trying to find work. Or are you talking to that lazy person that is on welfare, that's hanging out in the streets, that's smoking weed all the time, that's, just want a man to take care of them? Are you talking to the low-hanging fruit? You gotta be. You gotta be. The issue is someone who's working and want to become an entrepreneur. Well, what kind of entrepreneur? A 1099? I can say I'm an entrepreneur, but I don't hire staff unless I hire a private contractor, right? An independent contractor. You could be an entrepreneur and have a 1099. You could be an entrepreneur and actually have a staff of people that you write out W-2s and you writing out checks to. So again, and let me just say this, a lot of people who have side hustles or who have these online businesses is only one employee, and that is them. But some of them make money, and they have a full-time job that gives them benefits, and they also have their side business. So again, who is this woman talking to? So she came back to explain herself. And let me just play this.
Hello there, honey. Y'all all right? So listen real quick. Last night I did a video and I was talking to my entrepreneurial spirits and my entrepreneurs, okay? And the word was, honey, it's time to get a little job, okay? Because you ain't got no income coming in. And some folks got upset about that. But let's talk about it, all right? First and foremost, I ain't never gonna tell somebody to give up on their dreams. Never. For the last 8 years, I have publicly shared my journey, that I worked while I waited, right? You can have a dream, you can have a goal, you can have a vision that God has given you, and you can still have a job while pursuing it. Do you understand? See, I'm talking to the people who burnt all their bridges up. Baby, you have burnt all your bridges because you refuse to get a little side hustle or a job to have income coming in. while pursuing your passion and your dream. I'm not talking about the people who are trying to get jobs. I'm not talking about the people who you do have a little, job and things are still hard. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who are just like, I ain't gonna get no job. I'm gonna just ask such and such for the money, or I'm gonna do this and this to get the money, instead of trying to literally work while pursuing. Do you understand? I'm talking to the people who just have decided that working is beneath them. That's who I'm talking to. Okay? You know who you are. I'm not talking to the people who, like, Tab, I didn't try to get a job. Baby, the key word is tried. I'm talking to the people who ain't trying. They know who they are. And you know who they are. Okay? We can still pursue our passion and our dreams while working a temporary job that will help us get there. But what we shouldn't do is hurt our family, our friends. We shouldn't burn all our bridges and relationships because we believe so wholeheartedly that work is beneath us because we have this vision. Baby, we all got good vision. But sometimes, honey, you're going to have to go and get a little job for a little while so you got a little money coming in so you can pay your own bills while you're still pursuing your dream and your passion. Nothing is wrong with a job, especially if you know without the shadow of a doubt that your vision, your dream, God gave it to you and you see it so clear. If you know that, baby, then you know that a job is temporary. I'm just doing this right now, honey, because I know my thing going to hit. It's going to hit. Work while you wait on it to hit. Work while you pursue that thing. Stop burning them bridges. Stop thinking that a little job is beneath you. It's not. We can all work while we wait. I pursue my dreams. I still pursue them. Okay, I'm still pursuing. But for over 25 years, right? I pursued my dreams while working jobs that had nothing to do with my dreams. Call centers, staffing agencies, which is temporary employment, nursing homes. I was a caregiver. I worked in retail, Macy's, contract manufacturing, shipping, UPS, fast food. I did court call. I did so many odd jobs because I had responsibilities. Children. I had a husband who is my partner, right? How dare I leave him out to dry, right? I got this dream. I got it. I see it. It's clear, babe. That's what I would tell him. But I also went to work, honey. And I would work jobs for a little while and quit. But I would make sure that I had money to help pay them bills, right? I won't never out here just not having no money coming in because I had this dream. I still always kept a little job or a little side hustle to make sure I could pay my bills while pursuing my passion. Baby, now I would be at work, okay, talking about, oh, I gotta go do this doctor's appointment and go to an audition. Now, I done told them many lies. That was part of my hustle. But I still showed up to work. I still went on back and clocked on in, okay? You name it, Tab and about did it. While I pursued acting, while I pursued entertainment. Baby, drove Uber. Thank God I did. Because I did a video while sitting in my car from driving Uber that went viral and changed my life. Sometimes you getting a job is the door that the Lord is waiting to open for you to get to your dream. So don't think that a job is beneath you. It's not. It may just be part of your journey. And that's okay. Just stay locked in. Keep believing. Like, my plan A is going to work. But ain't nothing wrong with you working while you wait on it to happen. Okay? Two things can be true. Working while you waiting. You can still pursue the dream while you work. All right. That's it. I love you, honey. Now keep dreaming big. But also, get you a little job. Get a little money coming in. A little side hustle ain't never hurt nobody. Okay? Get them bills paid. Get them bills paid. Stop tearing up them relationships. You can figure this out. Okay? That's it. I love you. All right? And I want you to go on about your business, baby. And have yourself a good day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
You know what? It's something about her that I used to say comes off as being a little bit phony-ish. But however, you again, okay, so she's talking to those people who don't wanna work. That's a small percentage. Honey, I think she done ran into some young folk that act like they didn't have to work, but you ain't speaking to the masses. And I think she dropped this video at the wrong time because that jobs report just dropped and the black unemployment is high. And you sitting up here telling people to get a job and they done lost their damn job. Let's see. No, I don't want to go here. So it says the black unemployment rate is at the highest since 2021. Here's why that's a bad sign for the economy. The unemployment rate for Black Americans, and actually, I'll make this big like this. The unemployment rate for, here we go. The unemployment rate for Black Americans hit 7.5% in August, which some economists see as a canary in the coal mine. So I'm going to play this clip here.
Digging deeper into the August jobs report, looking at what recruiters are seeing on the ground and which sectors are adding or losing positions. Joining me now is Amy Glazer, Senior Vice President at Adecco. So Amy, I want to start with healthcare because healthcare added 31,000 jobs, but this is below the average monthly gain of 42,000 over the prior year. What do you make of that, and what does it say about the broader landscape, considering healthcare had really been propping up a lot of these positions?
Allie, the report today speaks to stability despite some ongoing headwinds. I'm not concerned about the data point in August for healthcare. It continues to be white hot, continues to be one of the strongest growth sectors, and will be as we see the aging workforce continue to retire and the aging population. So I don't think one data point should a trend make, nor an alarm bell be sounding.
Okay. Well, how about federal government employment? Because we have seen continuing job losses there following those DOGE cuts, the Department of Government Efficiency. Once those jobs are eliminated, what does that say when it comes to the broader landscape?
I don't think anybody should be surprised. I think Trump spoke about that quite often, and these were anticipated cuts. Most of those folks are being redeployed within the normal sector and taking jobs. And although we do continue to see these headwinds, there's still hundreds of thousands of jobs out there. And I'm frankly a little bit surprised at the report this week, Allie, as we're seeing an ongoing appetite. Employers are still out there hiring. What we are seeing is a trend slipping more towards quality instead of quantity of hires. So we're seeing a little bit of a delayed reaction. And although there's an appetite to hire, they're opening requisitions, they're taking a little bit longer to make the hiring decision.
So quality over quantity, what does that look like in practice for these businesses? What exactly are they looking for?
So it's interesting. I was sitting with a client just last week, and he was talking about, as a business, they have the need for speed. But in terms of hiring, they're really taking their time to get the right quality fit. This customer specifically had spent hundreds of millions of dollars automating their facility. And they found that with automation, it didn't reduce the number of employees needed within the facility, but it changed what that work looked like. So they really were focused on attitude, aptitude, and adaptability in terms of hiring, and making sure the employees they were hiring are ready to be continuously upskilled through this evolving landscape as automation, robotics, AI continue to shape the future of work.
Welcome to Yahoo Finance's opening bid. I'm your
Okay. So again, let me pull this thing up. What happened to it? No, it wasn't this. Oh, okay, it was this one here. So unemployment for Black Americans is at its worst level since the pandemic. And I guess I could share this here. Yeah. Yeah, make it bigger. Unemployment rate for Black Americans hit 7.5% in August, according to the seasonal adjusted data released Friday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and its highest since October 2021, more than double the rate seen for white workers. Some possible reasons federal include federal job cuts and tariff fuel economic uncertainty. So the unemployment rate for Black men at 7.1% was slightly higher than the 6.7 unemployment rate seen for Black women in August, though Black women have seen bigger employment losses since the first quarter of this year. Black teens, both sexes, 16 and 19, had an unemployment rate of 24.8%. Now, why is that important to emphasize on teenagers? Because 16 to 19, when you look at the increase in crime, you see a lot of teenagers committing crimes and getting in trouble and getting locked up, going to juvenile. That's a problem. So if they're not working and they're not studying, especially when you talk about in the summertime when they're on summer break, they're getting into mischief. But then their parents are getting laid off. So in that clip I showed, healthcare industry, you could always find a job in the healthcare industry. I worked in healthcare industry for 20 plus years. And yes, it is more stable, especially now. Like this. It is more stable, especially now. However, Black Americans are in the low wage job sectors, industries. And I did a show on this with Diamond Dave months ago. And a little over, it's about 70, about 65, 60 to 70% of adult Black workers make 45,000 or less a year. That's the low job industries, the low paying industries. So when you look at the unemployment with Black Americans increasing, their jobs are the first ones to be obsolete, to be eliminated, because they're in the low income, in the low wage industries. So it needs to be a shift as to what is your credentials, what is your expertise, what do you specialize in, what is your education level? If you only have a high school education level, you're going to be in a low wage. Going back to what Tabitha said, everybody can't be an entrepreneur, right? You got to work. Well, you're going to have to work the low wage job and then work your ass off trying to build up your own company. But do you even know how to start up a business, right? What skills? What skills do you have so that you can be marketable in the employment sector? Right? So it goes back to what kind of skills do you have, your level of education, and really applying yourself. Now, the lady was saying something, your attitude, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And she's speaking for everyone. And I get it. Yes. But you do have to have the right attitude, but you have to have the right type of expertise. Are you taking the time out to learn a trade, to get your bachelor's, but get your bachelor's in something that is profitable in the job market? If you get a bachelor's in anything dealing with healthcare, yeah, you will get a job quick. And and it'll be a different a decent wage, a decent salary. So I'm wondering, outside of federal jobs, because federal jobs is actually the highest employment for Black Americans, and it's been like that for decades. But outside of the federal jobs, what market are Black people looking for employment? What job industry sector? And if it's probably food and service, something low wage. But if you want to be competitive in the private sector, you're going to have to elevate your skills, get certifications or get a college degree. That's just what it is outside of the federal government. So, that's a large number, 7.1%. And that's for Black men, 6.7% for Black women. But overall, Black Americans' unemployment rate for the month of August of 2025, 7.5%. That's high. That is high. And that is a real problem. That is a real problem. So, hi, Empress, over in X. So, guys, speaking of employment, speaking of Black jobs, what is going on with Black women in these high power positions? Lisa Cook. What is going on with Lisa Cook? What is going on with Letitia James? What is going on with Fannie Willis? What is going on with Marilyn Mosley? What is going on with Jasmine Crockett? She about to lose her damn job, but there's no corruption yet. What is going on with Black women in high power positions and good positions, professional jobs, careers, having all these corrupt charges or justice investigations come down on them? Like, girl, Justice Department officially opens criminal investigation into the Federal Reserve for Governor Lisa Cook.
Sources are now saying that the Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. The probe stems from 2 criminal referral letters from the director of the Federal Housing Agency last month, claiming that Cook falsified bank documents and property records regarding her residences in Georgia and Michigan. President Trump has said that he would fire Cook over the claims. Cook has denied any wrongdoing and has accused the president of trying to illegally remove her from the Fed. So I want to bring in our ABC News Washington, D.C. Bureau Managing Editor Catherine Falders. Catherine, lovely to have you here with us. What more do we know here about this investigation and the evidence that potentially there is to support these claims from the administration?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it stemmed from the 2 criminal referral letters last month that were sent to the Department of Justice leadership by the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. And it's interesting when you ask the question about the evidence, because the head of that agency, his name is Bill Pulte. He's claimed that the referral was based on publicly available information, but has declined to comment about any tip that may have prompted this investigation or anything like that in terms of how he may have received this information. So this obviously, this investigation, this criminal investigation now is focusing specifically on her properties in Georgia and Michigan. And I'm told by multiple sources that federal prosecutors have been using grand juries in Georgia and
One second, they're a neighbor you like.
That was the end of that clip. But I want to share this here because she is now trying to blame the Biden administration She's trying to blame the Biden administration for her mortgage fraud scandal.
of Justice officially opening a criminal investigation into fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook over whether or not she misrepresented at least 3 properties on separate mortgage applications. Wall Street Journal reporting that subpoenas have already been sent out. This comes days after she sued President Trump, Jay Powell, and the entire Fed Board of Governors over her firing. And U.S. Housing Director Bill Pulte issuing a second criminal referral over a home in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Her attorney, Abby Lowell, who also represented Hunter Biden, saying in court this week that she already made mention of inconsistencies on home loan paperwork, any of them, back in 2022 when the Biden administration was vetting her for the job. What are your thoughts on all of this, John Lonsky? I mean, we knew that, that obviously this was likely going to come. Now it has. She's fighting back, Abby Lowell, the attorney. At the same time, she is a Fed governor, and Trump has asked, he said she's fired, she's fighting that, and she says she will not leave her post.
Yeah, the market doesn't seem to care much about this, does it? I mean, we've had the 10-year Treasury yield right now. It's under 4.2%, 4.16%. Nobody thinks that this effort to remove Governor Cook from the board will, jeopardize the Fed's independence to a degree that's worrisome to the market. That's what I'm focusing on. I don't really, the legal aspects, I don't really get.
Well, we have had some guests come onto the program, and Fox Business has had some market analysts that have come on and said that, that the Fed's independence, maybe not today, but yes, it is something that does matter to the integrity for markets and for decisions on rate cuts going forward.
It very much matters, but I'll tell you something that it has not been spoken about that the market may like. Lisa Cook is a very smart woman. She's a PhD from University of California at Berkeley. But her really strength is not going to be in monetary economics, maybe not so much macroeconomics. She studies what you might call social economics, the impact of race on economic performance. Well, that's good. There's a place for that. But, her appointment to the Fed reflected a movement towards woke as far as what the Federal Reserve was supposed to be doing. The Fed was supposed to take into account not only inflation, employment, but also what does Fed policy imply about trying to achieve racial justice. Right. So I think she's not going to be horribly missed if she's gone. And if Trump oversteps his bounds on what he is, how much influence he has over the Fed, believe me, the markets will respond negatively, and he'll take back that type of intervention very quickly.
So here's the thing, though, because Trump has mentioned that he really wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve. And maybe this is just one of the steps of him by doing that. And she was an easy target. She was an easy mark. And I don't understand what is going on with women, specifically Black women, getting caught up in mortgage fraud. You are smart. You are intelligent. You guys are in these high power positions. Letitia James, Attorney General for New York State, mortgage fraud, corruption, right? Marilyn Mosby, she was the prosecutor and the DA in Baltimore in the state of Maryland, mortgage fraud, and she was found guilty. Now we have Lisa Cook, who was the Federal Reserve governor or assistant governor, right? Mortgage fraud. And I'm like, are you guys, are you not reading your mortgage papers? You're not sitting next to your lawyer going through each line? So you're handing this man Trump easy wins to pick you off, right? Throw you under the bus so he could disrupt or get rid of, such as the Federal Reserve. You're handing it to him. Now, Fannie Willis is another one. She corrupt too, but why these women in their relationships, you're sleeping with men on a job in these high power positions, it's a bad look for women. It's a bad look for Black women and young Black women and Black girls to see these figures in these positions of doing corrupt things on the job. So, and then they always throw woke and the DEI. She's a DEI hire. That's why you're making it hard for other young Black women coming up that corporate ladder or even that federal government ladder to be taken seriously. And honestly, this is why I don't mind kicking their backs in, because they don't care. Letitia James, the Fannies, the Marilyns, the Lisa Cook, they don't care about the younger generation. But I wanted to
Vance,
play.
Ohio's recognized.
So being that she blames the Biden administration because she's saying, well, why did the Biden administration confirm me knowing that I had a mortgage issue? Because they vet you. They vet you. So this had to come up under her being vetted for that appointment, for that position. And they didn't do anything. Well, of course they didn't do anything, because maybe she was a DEI hire and they swept it under the rug because they didn't think that Trump was going to win this election. So it didn't matter. But now that he's won, he has access to all the little dirty secrets and back deals that people were doing, and he's exposing it. But I wanted to play her confirmation, because JD Vance, who was a senator at the time and he is now vice president, he was, drilling her during the confirmation, and rightfully so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate everybody being
And this is back from June of 2023.
here, and I appreciate
So she only been on the job for 2 years.
the chairman for holding this important hearing. And I want to start maybe by just pointing out the obvious, that one of the important things the Federal Reserve does, of course, is hopefully help us prevent the next global financial crisis. And I want to focus in particular on Ms. Cook, on some of your views here, because I think you've written some things I agree with, and you've written some things that I disagree with too. And so just to start with, and to give you some chance to explain your particular perspective here, I understand this is a very complicated question, but at a high level, what do you think caused the 2008 global financial crisis?
I think there were multiple factors causing the 2008 crisis. Certainly, I would say living in Michigan certainly saw the mass layoffs that allowed for people who had taken out mortgages to no longer be able to make those payments. So that, to me, was one of the primary causes. But certainly extending credit in a way that was not sensible, both receiving credit and extending credit, especially in the subprime sector, helped to cause the global financial crisis.
Well, I appreciate that, Ms. Cook, and I agree with you. And, of course, one thing that I'd add here is that we took, as you said, some primary credit problems and really exploded them by introducing a whole host of highly complex financial instruments. Seems like nobody understood them especially well. That obviously provided a lot of leverage in the economy. And so when $10 disappeared, all of a sudden $1 million disappeared, $10 million disappeared, and on the dominoes went. I want to ask Ms. Cook, if you had to rank it, where would you say a lack of racial and gender diversity ranks on that list? Would you say it's a top 5 factor, a top 10 factor in what caused the global financial crisis? Lack of gender and racial diversity, of course, at the big banks.
Senator, as a Federal Reserve governor, I think about the dual mandate first, and I think about the two legs of that dual mandate, and those are maximum employment and stable prices. And as a governor, I have been engaged with my colleagues on the Federal Open Market Committee in fighting inflation aggressively. And I have been focused on the dual mandate, and that's how, if reconfirmed, I would plan to proceed.
I appreciate that, Ms. Cook. And the reason I asked this question is this. So in a 2019 interview, you said that a lack of women and diversity leads to the next economic crisis. In another speech that year, you suggested a lack of diversity was, quote, at the root of the financial crisis and the Great Recession. So my question is, do you think that a lack of diversity was a root cause of the recent turmoil in the banking sector? Do you think it was a root cause of the 2008 GFC?
So let me pause right there. So basically, this woman said the financial collapse under Obama when he was first elected, or was that his second term? No, it was his first term, was the reason why the banks and mortgage companies collapsed is because they had lack of diversity. And this woman was confirmed to the Federal Reserve. And it's funny that he's asking her about mortgage fraud and mortgage corruption, in the banking system, the banking crash of 2008, that recession. And all along during this confirmation, she is caught up in some mortgage fraud that's coming out now 2 years later, that she's trying to now blame on Biden. Well, they confirmed me and they knew, which makes no sense.
Senator, again, I would focus on my time in the past year of being a governor and focusing on the inflation fight. When I have written about diversity in particular, something that you might be interested in, that you focused on, is innovation and where capital goes and where in the country it is. So certainly as a Fed governor, I've been out in all parts of the country listening to community banks and listening to communities about where credit is available and where it is not, and what the Federal Reserve might be able to do to provide such credit in the system, which is part of our dual mandate.
I appreciate that, Ms. Cook, and I will say that I hope you continue that work, because I certainly agree that we need to extend credit where possible and make sure that businesses, whatever the color of the skin of the founder, have access to capital. And I think that's probably an area where there's some alignment between the two of us. The final point that I'd make, and the reason I asked this question, and probably one of the last times I'll ever get to talk to you, and you're likely to be confirmed, is I really worry about how much time we focus on the tasks that we have in a given day. And if we're focused too much on the wrong things, we don't have enough time to focus on the right things. That's certainly true in my job. I think it's true in any other job. My worry is that, especially at the Federal Reserve, which is doing important supervisory work, to the extent that we're focused on diversity, that may distract from our ability to focus on far, far more important things that are at the root of the Federal Reserve's mandate. So I hope whatever your views and whatever your disagreements and agreements with me on that topic, when you're confirmed, as you likely will be, you take the focus on the core function. And I hope that none of us are distracted by some of these other concerns, because I think that's what may lead to the next financial crisis, a lack of supervisory authority from the Federal Reserve. And I think over-focusing on diversity actually enhances and makes that more likely, doesn't make it less likely. Thank you for answering my questions.
JD Vance made some really good points. So let me just say this. I think what she was trying to correlate here is, if the said banking and mortgage companies had more people of color or more Black people working for their companies, then Black people would not have been the main target for those, subprime lending loans. Maybe that was the correlation she was making. But the truth of the matter is, you could have a corporation that has a whole bunch of diversity, right? And still take advantage of people, whether they're Black, white, woman, child, men, it doesn't matter, disability, elderly. Just because somebody is Black working for a company and it's not their company, they still have to adhere to the policies of that company. So even if you had 90% of Black people working for a mortgage company, we still would have been a recession. Black people still would have been targeted with some prime loans. And it wasn't just Black people, it was all Americans that got caught up in that mortgage stuff. So yeah, it's interesting that he brought up diversity. See, he was that was the beginning in 2023. JD Vance, probably knowing Trump definitely running for re-election, and he was probably in the talking circle of being a potential VP, right? So, yeah, interesting. So I just wanted to share that. Oh, and one last thing when it comes to corruption, right?
I'm not that important.
So she's, I guess, yes, she's a Black woman. She's an immigrant, but she's a councilwoman out of Boston. And she got found guilty on corruption. What the hell is going on with women in political office and corruption? So, Boston City Council member, she's holding this press conference saying we need to create Black media. Her name is Tania Fernandez Anderson, right? She was a council member in the city of Boston. And she was found guilty of taking, I think, $30,000 in kickbacks from a relative. Let me just play the video.
I'm not that important. And I hope that after this, you guys will stop talking about me, because I'm actually an introvert and it hurts when you put me on the news. And for Boston Herald and all of the folks who've try to create stories, try to verify your facts. The reason why I don't talk to you is because you never report accurately on Black people. You're always causing some sort of trouble. And you know what? The responsibility really is not on Boston Herald or ABC or Fox 25. The responsibility should be on the Black community. We need to create Black media so that we can actually be able to create a fair story and report accurately on Black people. You don't care that I'm a Black woman, that I'm an immigrant, that I'm getting death threats, and I'm not a victim. I'm not saying any of that, and I took responsibility. I'm asking you to humanize Black people, especially Black women, especially Black immigrants. And there's no excuses here. It's just simply report accurately, be responsible. And to my Black community, this is where we are in the state of things in Boston, a city where we have so much money. I wasn't what the prosecutor said. I wasn't trying to gain momentum or popularity. I actually don't like talking to you guys. I actually don't like being in the media. It's just too much. And so can you please, I'm asking you for the love of God, stop talking about me. Just let the story go.
She asked for forgiveness and said there was no excuse for what she did. The judge said the 1 year the government was asking for did not fit sentencing guidelines, and so the judge sentenced her to 1 month in federal prison. She'll also have to pay $13,000 in restitution. Of course, Fernandez Anderson had pleaded guilty to two federal charges for taking kickbacks, thousands of dollars worth of kickbacks in the bathroom at Boston City Hall. She resigned several months later. She had wanted simply probation, if that was an option, certainly, but the judge said she wanted to send a message that this was not okay, and so 1 month incarceration is what the judge decided on. She will have to appear to self-report to federal prison on October 17th. Again, we're waiting for her to come out and address the media, and we'll bring you that as soon as she does it.
And there you have it. Now, why is it when people get caught, especially Black women, even Black men, right? Everything is about race. Leave me alone because I'm Black. Stop talking about me. I'm an introvert. And I'm an immigrant. Stop picking on me. No, you are a public official. You're a politician. And we have a right to talk about you. If you are an introvert, you are in the wrong line of business. You are being paid by taxpayers and you are taking kickbacks, which is illegal. So yes, we're going to talk about you. But now apparently, oh wait, let me get rid of this. Apparently, she's an illegal. She's undocumented.
Our Attorney General Pam Bondi is with us. What can you tell us about the arrest in the D.C. intern murder case?
You know, Sean, since this happened to Eric and over 100 working together in the safety of America, off-duty police officers stop Boston. We are. President Trump cares deeply about this country, and Boston is safe. It's not. A Haitian national is charged with raping a child at a
to the federal government raid back at a obviously sanctuary city, but we have California sanctuary state. We have Illinois Governor Pritzker making his announcement that he is going to fight back if, in fact, ICE raids take place. You have all these groups. There was one announced this week in Colorado. They are going to tip off illegal immigrants if there is going to be an ICE raid. Isn't it, by definition, aiding and abetting lawbreaking if you are protecting people that are in the country illegally? And doesn't the Constitution and the Supremacy Clause give jurisdiction to the federal government, not to state governments?
It sure does, Sean, and it is illegal to tip someone off. It endangers the lives of our law enforcement officers. That's why these sanctuary cities are so incredibly dangerous. Yeah, Michelle Wu is one of the worst offenders in the entire country. She says Boston is safe. It's not. A Haitian national is charged with raping a child at a migrant center. An 18-year-old illegal alien from Haiti molested a 10-year-old child. An illegal from El Salvador. 11 counts of rape against a child. I could go on and on about the crimes in the Boston area. So if she's not going to protect the people of Boston, we are. President Trump cares deeply about this country and the safety of Americans. We don't care where you live. We're going to protect you. And yes, you cannot have a sanctuary city in the United States of America. No longer. We sued her. We're going to protect all citizens, even the ones who live in Boston, because if she's not going to protect them, we are. Remember, Michelle Wu is the one that when an off-duty police officer stopped a knife-wielding man, she offered condolences for the criminal defendant and not the police officer, who was heroic. That's what we've been up against with some of these cities.
Are they committing crimes by obviously adopting these policies?
Well, that's why we're suing her. We're going to take away their federal funding. We want notices of everything that they're doing to protect illegal aliens. Here's the difference. In D.C., Muriel Bowser was cooperating with us, sharing intelligence. That's how we got so many violent offenders off the streets of D.C. Here, when they're not cooperating, it jeopardizes the lives of our men and women in law enforcement. No longer, no more. That's why we've sued her. We've sued multiple states, and we will continue. L.A., Denver, Chicago, and more. We're not going to stop.
All right, Attorney General Pam Bondi.
It was something that probe confirms undocumented Boston law. Is she undocumented? Okay, here we go. So, Trump administration zeroing in on Boston sanctuary stance towards illegal immigration, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed. It is reviewing the status of an African-born former councilwoman who was sentenced Friday in corruption probe. Cape Verde-born Boston councilor Tania Fernandez Anderson pleaded guilty earlier this year in retaliation to what the Boston Herald describes as kickback scheme she carried out in the City Hall bathroom. Libs of TikTok, a social media account known for criticizing liberal hypocrisy and run by activists something, highlighted Henderson last week and said that a source had told her the DHS was investigating Anderson. After she was elected in 2021, Anderson spoke about her Muslim and African background, mentioning that she had been undocumented. We always say the Ummah, which means community. I'm probably pronouncing that Arabic word wrong. It doesn't necessarily exclude non-Muslims. As a person that I am, Muslim Verdinian, someone who's been undocumented, an African immigrant, and now African American, I think that all of that is what makes me a very dynamic Black woman. Shit. So Cape Verde, it is an island off of the shores of the country Senegal in West Africa. Small island, 600,000 people. So she actually admitted when she was elected that she was undocumented, who's been undocumented. African immigrant, now she's an African American. So maybe she ended up becoming American. Maybe she got her papers. But she is saying that she is a dynamic Black woman, I guess, because she is an immigrant. That city of Boston is so gentrified, during the Biden administration, city of Boston were taking in a whole bunch of illegals and they were putting them in the Black areas. They actually closed down a local community, recreational community for Black kids because it was in a Black neighborhood. I think it was the Roxbury section, closed it down to house illegals. So then what are these kids supposed to do with after school programs that rec center had, sports events for the kids, closed it down for illegals. Black Americans in Boston are damn near obsolete. So yeah, I'm glad Pam Bondi is suing the city of Boston, and they need to sue other sanctuary city leaders. And I'm glad that that woman is getting locked up because you don't take kickbacks. I don't care you're an introvert. I don't care that you are a African. I don't care that you are a Muslim. I don't care that you are a woman. You are a politician. You work for the people. The people is what pay your salary, and you broke the law. So get up out of here. Now, I want to get into the Trump thing. I don't think it's true. But now people are saying, well, this gang member is issuing a warning to President Trump stating not to send troops to Chicago, warning that gangs will beat the National Guard.
Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, gang. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different fucking breed out here, nigga. We are not Los Angeles. Nigga, we are not Washington, D.C. Nigga, this is Chicago, nigga. Them niggas go fight back. I'm telling you, them niggas go fight back, gang. Whatever, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Them young niggas got switches, gang. They not going for that shit, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Nigga, do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by itself, gang. Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, gang. Do not,
How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? First of all, Homeland Security, the FBI, they got just me. I know they got his name, his address, his phone numbers. They're already looking into him. How stupid can you be? You want to say, oh, the gangs are going to fight back military? The gangs are punks. They're punks. There's no organized, gangs. There's no gangs where they have like a organized organization where they look out for the community, even though, they're selling drugs. No, they're just reckless. A whole bunch of young, reckless thugs. When the National Guard start rolling in, they're not going to be outside because they're going to be too scared. but people do anything to go viral. And I haven't seen any other gang member get on social media saying this. So this has to be some type of parody. Where are the other ones at? Oh, I got the wrong thing here.
Okay, I'm back from my Target run. And I saw a video of a young man who decided to warn President Donald Junquavius Trump and tell him that he better not send the military to Chicago because they got switches. They got switches. Yeah, that's what he said. I'm trying to say this with a straight face because he was so serious. Son, do you understand the magnitude of the force of the U.S. military? Yeah, you got switches, but they have weapons that are so far advanced. They have tiny homing missiles that by the time you realize there's a quarter-size hole in your chest, you'll only have 5 breaths left. Yeah, 5 breaths left. Not only that, do you know that when your ammunition run out, because you don't have enough to go against them, once your ammo runs out, do you know they still gonna be coming full force at you? Yeah. Also, do you know that they can localize and pinpoint where all of that ammunition is coming from, where all of the pew-pews are coming from, and they will level it. Yeah, level it. You won't have to worry about having your family to have a fish fry or a GoFundMe to pay for your burial because there won't be anything left, love. They're going to have to raise money for a life-size poster of you because that's all they'll have to remember you by. Yeah, decimated, obliterated. This is the U.S. military we're talking about. We're talking about people who have vowed with their lives to protect the United States from all terroristic threats and enemies, foreign and domestic. And just in case you didn't know, love, what you just did, that was a domestic terroristic threat. So you still got time to take that down and apologize to the U.S. military and President Donald Junquavius Trump. Yeah, you got switches, but we have the life-size version and the real life version of Bruce Banner. In case you didn't know who that was, that's the Hulk. Yeah, U.S. military, they got the Hulk. They also have Winter Soldiers. Yeah, and they got the Avengers. Sir, you're outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, out everything. Just stay in the house, baby. Go on, stay in the house and let them clean up the crime because you are no match for the U.S. military. There are other militaries that aren't a match for the U.S. military. Do you understand that they just leveled the cartel? Anyway, baby, go on, apologize and stay in the house. Okay? Just stay in the house. Tell them you're sorry. All right.
That was funny. Yeah, because here's the thing. This is what people are not understanding. See, Trump bringing the National Guard into urban sanctuary cities, yes, it's going to reduce the crime drastically. Not just the crime of the American citizens, but the crime that is being committed by a lot of the illegal migrants. Don't you know if he is bringing in these National Guards, it's going to slow down the cartels, drugs being shipped into the city? It's going to slow down the human trafficking that is being done. You're going to ICE is able to come in and round up a whole lot of illegals and get them up out of that city. It's going to it's going to, yes, slow down the gang activity, but that's small potatoes because the local officials, they really can do it themselves, but they just been turning a blind eye. Because yes, people do make money off of crime. But now that Trump is bringing in the National Guards, look at the bigger picture. He's doing it to get to the illegals easier and quicker and to disrupt these drug cartels flooding our cities with drugs, to disrupt the drug cartels distributing drugs. I had Minister Jap on my show last week, and he said it, that they put the drugs on a train, planes, and drive it, or it's on a train going all the way up into Chicago, going through Texas, going through Mississippi, going through Indiana, and stopping in Chicago. They do the same thing on the West Coast. So if he's bringing in National Guards in LA, if he bringing National Guards in DC, in New York, in Chicago, in New Orleans, it's going to disrupt the cartels. The cartel, that is $1 trillion industry. Trillions, not billions. That is $1 trillion organized crime industry. Drugs, human trafficking, avocados, you name it. They actually control the country of Mexico and other South American countries. They control the government. So blowing up that cartel ship, that Venezuelan cartel ship, yeah, good. Bringing in National Guards in these urban cities, that's disrupting the distribution of how these people make their money. So what Trump is doing, and he's rounding up the illegals and a lot of those gangs that came flooded in here as well. So what he's doing, he's hitting these drug cartels from every single angle, disrupting their money flow. And what you do piece by piece, disrupting and breaking down their organization. And then it helps our national security as well, because we don't even know how many sleepers slid through that border by the help of the cartels. So it's a method to all this. It's a method to it. So when you have these ignorant Black people like him talking about the gangs, and the gangs have no influence. They have no power. They're just ignorant young thugs that's just going around shooting random people, robbing random people, or just shooting another boy because they're from another block. Ignorance. Like, boy, go sit down.
So what I'm noticing on the internet right now is there's a lot of there's Black men talking about they ready for the National Guard to come in. They got switches. They got over 100,000 gangs. Chicago is ready. And I'm like, you think your Black ass is really ready for the U.S. Armed fucking Forces and the National Guard? Are you for real? Your 2-block range is not gonna go against motherfuckers who have night vision goggles and fucking tanks and drones, you fucking idiot. Bro, you can't even shoot a nigga without spraying up your grandma's porch. Okay, these men are trained to shoot a fly's wings from 800 yards away. Do you know what you're asking for? Do you understand? I don't think you do. This is really not funny, but I'm so fucking embarrassed. These men are used to training in fucking jungles, in the fucking mountains and shit, in deserts you ain't never fucking seen before. And here you are hiding behind a liquor store with your rusty 9mm. Bro, I need you to get off the fucking internet.
Why do people on TikTok, they curse so much? Oh my God, y'all don't have to do all that cursing. But she's right. She's absolutely right. Like, come on, y'all have no match.
Tonight, President Trump taking in the U.S. Open men's final as a guest of Rolex, receiving both cheers and boos from the stadium crowd. Fans frustrated by delays getting through security. The president taking a quick trip to New York after defending his plan to send the military into Chicago. And after sharing this AI image Saturday, saying Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker calling him a wannabe dictator and accusing him of threatening to go to war with the nation's third largest city.
Are you threatening to go to war with Chicago?
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, we're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Others, including protesters, criticizing the deployment.
It hurts to see service members that I consider brothers and sisters weaponized against my community.
Still, the Trump administration ramping up its focus on immigration. Federal officials saying today they've begun a new operation in Massachusetts after immigration officials earlier this year made arrests in Boston.
We have a search warrant for the whole site.
Meanwhile, today, South Korean officials said more than 300 South Korean workers detained during a massive immigration raid on a Hyundai facility in Georgia will be returned to the country on a chartered flight. The raid was the largest single-site enforcement operation in Homeland Security history, with DHS saying they arrested 475 workers.
Yamiche is joining us now from the White House. And Yamiche, a top administration official now says more new immigration action could come within days, right?
That's right. Today, Tom Homan, the president's border czar, said Chicago and most sanctuary cities should absolutely expect to see federal forces brought in this week, and that using the National Guard is on the table. Hallie?
We thank you.
And when you listen to the people of Chicago,
Adobe Acrobat Studio is all.
Wait a minute a second. All these damn commercials.
Chicago should expect to see stepped up immigration enforcement actions this week, and the White House border czar says the use of National Guard troops to support those ICE operations is, quote, on the table.
In West suburban Downers Grove, dozens protesting the planned ramped-up ICE operations as some 300 federal agents use the suburbs for staging and lodging.
ICE has got to go. We are a country united, and we are a melting pot still.
Whether you're an American or whether you're not, you have a right to due process and human rights.
ICE and DHS offering few details on where and how operations will occur.
Back up, back up, back up.
Video provided to ABC7 shows federal agents wearing badges that say ICE, detaining a man near Archer and Pulaski, who neighbors say is a flower vendor. Messages we left for a DHS spokesperson were not returned.
You can expect action in most sanctuary cities across the country. President Trump's prioritized sanctuary cities because sanctuary cities knowingly release illegal alien public safety threats to the streets every day.
Yesterday, President Donald Trump garnered strong reaction after posting to social media that Chicago will find out why it's called the Department of War.
The President of the United States essentially just declared war on a major city in his own nation. This is not normal.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Today, the Trump administration doubling down on the possible use of National Guard troops to protect and support ICE operations.
The National Guard are always on the table. We use them in Los Angeles and we use them in Washington, D.C. They're a force multiplier.
City and state officials have said they'll immediately go to court if National Guard troops are deployed to Chicago.
Well, you could go to court all you want because SCOTUS just handed Trump another victory, saying that SCOTUS just lifted the ban of banning National Guards and ICE agents in LA. So go to court. You ain't gonna get an answer right away, and it's going to end up being in favor of Donald Trump. But when he posts pictures like this on Truth Social, excuse me, it does look like he's trying to go to war. But he says, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Yes, I'm telling you, sending these National Guards into these sanctuary cities, Chicago, DC, New York, or what have you, LA, is only to make it easier for ICE to arrest illegal migrants and to disrupt the drug cartels. He don't care about black people like that. Black people don't care about black people like that. Now, you have to have an excuse. And so, yes, this is a high crime. It's out of control. But part of the escalation in crime in these urban cities is because of the illegals. So, yeah, he is going to hit his number mark. I think he wanted 1 million illegal migrants deported by the end of this year. He has to hit his mark. So if it's 1 million every year and he's here for 4 years, that's 4 million, even though over 10 million came in. But it's a start. And if J.D. Vance or another Republican like a J.D. Vance or Trump's get reelected in 2028, then we can have another 4 million people deported. And the cartels, drug organization could be disrupted even more, right? But it's $1 trillion industry, so there's no stopping it. But this man ain't playing. Like, come on. My father in there, honey, he watching football. You know, it's because it's Monday Night Football. And I hear him yelling already, like, honey. Like, and it's not even his team. That's his team is the Giants. They played yesterday. But he just gets so excited. Oh my God. And it's like, okay, I might have to deal with this yelling all through February. All through February. I just don't understand. I don't understand. All right, listen. I want to get to this Ukrainian refugee that was murdered in Charlotte. But I want to ask you guys, please share this video. Please like this video. And shout out to everybody that's watching on X. Everybody that's watching on X. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Johnny Tukus. Hi. And please like and share this video and repost the video on X. So, wait a minute. Let me pull this up. Let me get this. Yeah, let me pull this up. The Carlos Brown Jr., the piece of shit that murdered the innocent Ukrainian woman, right? See, this is not color for me. It's not. And I'm gonna break down why it's not color. But let's just focus on the incident at hand. This actually happened a month ago. It happened a month ago. So I want to play this first clip.
Newly released surveillance video shows the moment 23-year-old Irina Zarutska boarded the CATS train at the East-West station. She sat down in front of a man identified by police as DeCarlos Brown. 4 minutes later, he suddenly pulls out a knife and stabs her multiple times.
I was shocked to hear that. I was like, really? Because I just wrote it like hours before. Like, I be on there all the time. I have had words with people, but never violent.
According to video, Brown then walked to the next car, wrapped his hand in a sweater, and left the train. An attack that's left some residents shocked.
Obviously, you know, you get your few people here and there that may cause some type of concern. Like yesterday, I did get followed actually on the train, but I think that's unfortunately, that's normal for women.
And others not so surprised.
Well, I don't feel safe riding public transportation, but I gotta go to work. And I gotta get from point A to point B.
Brown did not have a valid ticket to ride the night of the incident. He's now charged with murder. Mayor Lyles issued a statement following the video's release, calling it senseless and tragic, and extending prayers to the victim's family. CATS says it's now increasing patrols on the Blue Line and reviewing safety policies. In Charlotte, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking
All right. Sorry about that, guys.
New details are coming to light about the deadly stabbing of a 23-year-old woman on Charlotte's Blue Line system. This as the suspect is in jail tonight. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley speaking with people in Uptown, including a witness to this horrific crime.
People here in Uptown say they are relieved to know the suspect, Carlos Brown, was charged with murder, but they are still asking questions.
I'm sorry. You guys said there's no sound. Sorry about that. Give me a second. 1 second.
Uptown are shocked to learn about the new details.
All right, can you hear that? Did you hear that?
Details of a deadly stabbing last Friday, according to an affidavit.
Let me know if you can hear that. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay. All right, thank you.
Details are coming to light about the deadly stabbing of a 23-year-old woman on Charlotte's Blue Line system. This as the suspect is in jail tonight. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley speaking with people in Uptown, including a witness to this horrific crime.
People here in Uptown say they are relieved to know the suspect, Carlos Brown, was charged with murder, but they are still asking questions about safety measures. People who live in Uptown are shocked to learn about the new details of a deadly stabbing last Friday. According to an affidavit, security video shows Irina Zadruka got on the train sitting across from suspect Carlos Brown. But what happened next is alarming to Kyle Jenkins, who rides his bike in Uptown daily.
From what I understand about the attack, it was unpredictable.
Okay, so the reason why I saved this video is from 10 days ago, and this is a local Charlotte news video. This incident happened over 10 days ago, and it did not reach national media until this weekend, right? And so people are saying that the reason why this never made national news until now is because the local news people was trying to bury that story because it was a black guy, right? And it was a black guy who had a long rap sheet. What was it? So it says here, Representative Randy Fine will introduce legislation to hold judges accountable when a violent repeat offenders, their release, commit new crimes following the murder of Aryana Zaruska. He says those 12 plus judges who released the Carlos Brown Jr. should have their day in court too. So he was arrested and put in jail over a dozen times. And this is one of the judges. Let me make this bigger. Yeah. This is one of the judges, Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, who released the 14-time criminal, DeCarlos Brown Jr., is also the Director of Operations at Second Chance Services, a mental health and addiction clinic in Charlotte. Does this judge release violent criminals into her treatment center to get paid by government contracts? Investigate this racket. Ooh, that is a great question, right? Because why is this guy allowed to be released over 14 times when he is basically a lifelong criminal? 14 prior arrests. He should have still been in jail, in prison. This is horrible. And the city of Charlotte tried to bury this story. Of course, locally, they're going to talk about it, but I believe they tried their damnedest so that this story will not go national. And now you talk about X, you talk about social media, picked it up, and now it is national. And I want to know, who are the people that started a GoFundMe for this lunatic? GoFundMe pulls fundraisers for felon accused of killing commuter in a random Charlotte train attack. GoFundMe said it removed multiple fundraising campaigns created on behalf of DeCarlos Brown Jr., the convict accused of stabbing and killing Ukrainian refugee Irina Zaruska. According to information reviewed by the Fox News Digital, campaigns were taken down within hours of being flagged. So there was people created several campaigns, and they probably was just, scamming, trying to scam people to get money. But I'm glad that GoFundMe took down that that fund for him. But what I don't understand is, why is it that he was allowed to continue to be put out on the street, to continue to be released? That's a problem when you talk about, that's part of that no bail. This is why you have to give criminals bail. Defund the police. No, this is why you have to fund the police. I want to play this here. This, what's his name? Kazin. It's this guy Kazin. He's popular on X.
Our empathy keeps getting used to excuse evil. And it's literally killing us. Yesterday, I showed you how liberal media ignore.
It was this one. Yeah, I want to play this one.
A Ukrainian woman was murdered by homeless men. But some media isn't reporting it. And it's a pattern of being silent when the killer is black and the victim is white, and loud when it's the opposite. On August 22nd, Irina Zaruska sat down on a bus in front of DeCarlos Brown. DeCarlos, for no apparent reason, stabbed her in the throat. This was cold-blooded murder. Irina was a white, blonde Ukrainian refugee who fled the war. DeCarlos is a black, homeless, 4-time felon who just left jail. I hate that I even need to mention their skin colors, but I do. Because if this had been a white man murdering a black woman, this would be nonstop national news. And yet, the New York Times hasn't reported on it. CNN hasn't reported on it. MSNBC hasn't reported on it. What do they all have in common? They're all on the left. This is clearly newsworthy. It touches multiple third rails: race, immigration, Ukraine war, homelessness, and crime. So why aren't they reporting on it? Because there's a race-based double standard in the media. Now, make no mistake, right-wing media like Fox News and New York Post are biased too. And here's the thing, the media is overwhelmingly left-leaning. 30 to 60% of journalists are on the left. 5 to 7% are on the right. So we're all getting a skewed version of reality. One in which white on black crime is worthy of marching, but black on white crime isn't worth mentioning. Both are equally wrong. But we've been conditioned to see race first and principle second. And it's swinging the pendulum from one irrational extreme to the other. From white people being elevated to white people being denigrated. Meanwhile, black-white race relations are worse than they were at the start of the century. But why should I, a black man, care? Because we all should. We're supposed to be ending racism, not flipping who gets to be racist. And if we don't correct this, many white people will become resentful, and they'll swing the pendulum back to black. We can't keep doing this. In the face of evil, we must let go of racial preferences and focus on principles. All decent people must say, I don't care what color they are. A person murdering another person in cold blood is evil. All humans must say, I don't care who started it. A boy stabbing another unarmed boy at a track meet is wrong. All mature adults must say, I don't care how mistreated you feel. A woman calling a child a racial slur is disgusting. In a race war to the bottom, no one wins. The division shouldn't be black versus white. It should be wrong versus right. The media profits from us being divided, but you don't have to play that game. That's why I built Clear Thinker, so you can see right through it.
Well, who said that people are trying to get rid of racism? Racism is never going to go away. This is why I disagree with everything he said in this video. Because, sir, you're making it about race. You are making it about race. And you know why you're making it about race? Yes, the liberal media did not want to highlight this man killing this white girl. Maybe because he was black, maybe because he was poor or had mental issues, or because they know that their liberal city with liberal laws, with defund the police, with no bail, no cash bail, those policies failed. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with failed policies by the left. That's what it is. But, sir, you're making it about race. And you know how I know? Because it's bad enough that the left media ignores these type of stories, but the right wing media always want to blame black men, and they blame them for being black, and that's why they did what they did. See, the left wing ignores us. The right wing blames us and saying the reason why is because we're black. Whereas race has nothing to do with it. Why? Because when a black girl or a black woman is murdered brutally, you, sir, and everybody else on the left and the right go radio silent. And those cases go unsolved and unheard. It just so happened recently that the Cara Thompson case is making news. And that is because the man who killed her was undocumented, most likely and illegal. Why is it that you want to say, oh, well, they didn't want to report it because he's black? Why they're protecting the black men? It has nothing to do with race when that's the only thing you're bringing up. Did you guys talk about that white guy that chopped up that black girl? I believe it was in Michigan, and his trial was just last month. So you are making it about race because you keep bringing up white, black, white. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the left and the Democrats trying to cover up their failed policies, because ain't no way in hell that guy, that savage, the Carlos Brown Jr., with all his criminal history, he should not have been walking the street. He should be in prison. You get free mental health care in prison. It says Mecklenburg County Court and jail records show Brown has been arrested in connection with 14 cases spanning more than a decade. His history includes convictions of felony larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and communicating threats, leading to a 6-year prison sentence in 2015 for incidents dating 2013 and 2014. He was released in 2020. Within months of his release, Brown was charged with assaulting his sister. Even Brown's mother has blamed the courts for allowing her son to be out in the community. Now, he was diagnosed with being schizophrenia, and has a documented pattern of delusional behavior. In January, he was arrested for allegedly repeatedly calling 911 to claim that a man-made material had been implanted in his body and was dictating his ability to eat, walk, and speak. So this man, he's schizophrenia. He's a schizophrenic. So is this about race? No, it's not. It's about failed public policies. And going back to when I talked about Black women in these high power positions that are caught up on these corruption charges, that judge who let him out, where's her picture? Her. Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, can we get an investigation going in on her? She released him. And she's also a director of operations at Second Chance Services, a mental health and addiction clinic in Charlotte. So she could be part of some type of racket. Send them out to outpatient therapy. He is a lifelong criminal and diagnosed with being schizophrenia. He can have nothing outpatient. He needs to be inpatient behind prison walls getting his treatment.
Our empathy keeps getting used to excuse evil. And it's literally killing us. Yesterday, I showed you how liberal media ignored a Black man murdering a white Ukrainian woman and the racial double standard in reporting. Today, I saw the mayor's statement. She called this a tragic situation that sheds light on problems with society's safety nets. Said the killer has long struggled with mental health and suffered a crisis. Said we shouldn't villainize those who struggle with mental health, and that mental health disease needs to be treated with the same compassion as cancer. There was no mention of the killer's criminal record. This is a textbook emotional argument. When someone does evil, we get told to be empathetic. Emphasis is placed on systemic issues outside of their control, rather than the factors within their control. We're lectured about not villainizing them. We get told to call them unhoused instead of homeless, changing the terms instead of fixing the problem. Their choice to do evil gets compared to an involuntary disease like cancer. The implication is the killer is the victim, not the villain. This manipulation tactic exploits a logical fallacy called appeal to emotion. It causes us to ignore facts just so that we don't seem mean. It creates false equivalencies, making us think that the mental health of violent people is as important as the physical safety of their victims. Now, the mayor said she didn't know DeCarlos's mental health record, but we do know his criminal record. Carlos was arrested 14 times. He assaulted his own sister. Under North Carolina law, he was a habitual felon. That should have meant years in prison, but the district attorney didn't do that. Instead, after yet another arrest in January, DeCarlos was held for months, then released without passing a mental health test. He was put back on the streets. And now, a woman who fled Ukraine to escape death met it here. The mayor was right about this. We should have compassion even for the worst offenders. Compassion is a virtue because there, but for the grace of God, go I. But compassion without consequences is vice. DeCarlos did not face the full consequences of his past actions. He should have been put in jail, not on a bus. He should have been incarcerated, not out of vengeance, but to protect him and everyone else around him. Part of healing mental illness is exposing the person to the unyielding constraints of reality, because boundaries change behaviors, and empathy without responsibility isn't kindness.
All right, I can stop that right there. So his first video, he's talking about race. Now he's talking about empathy, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is they're trying to cover their ass. the city of Chicago, the mayors, the judges, everyone's trying to cover their ass because they policy failed policies. How many Americans were assaulted, robbed, killed by illegals because of the failed Biden-Harris policy, having open borders? So when you want to bend the law or lighten up the law, you get stuff like that. So speaking of white people, you know, since everybody want to run around here and saying, oh, they're trying to protect the black guy, the black crazy savage guy. No, ain't nobody trying to protect them. They're trying to protect themselves. People don't care about black people. Stop. There are other black people that don't care. Black people who are in these powerful positions don't care about black people. No, they're trying to cover their ass from the policies. You know why? Because again, like I said, when it comes to black girls, radio silent. Now that the I can't pronounce her name. Sarusta. I don't know, I'm saying her name wrong, but the Ukrainian refugee, she was gorgeous. She was pretty, minding her business. And that is why these white men on X and everywhere else are pushing it out there to get attention on it because she was a pretty white girl. If she was a black girl, you white men on social media and black men, but you white people would not have pushed to get it out there in the media. You would not have. Because you know why? You don't condemn your own people.
Cincinnati's Ethiopian community is in mourning and searching for answers after 3 people were shot and killed in Mount Washington.
An elder says that all 3 belong to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in College Hill. Local 12's Chris Arnold shows how their community is dealing with the tragedy.
His name is Be'emnet Darasa. The young ladies is Eden Adunya and Feven Adunya.
Araya Amsalu says all 3 were well known in the Ethiopian community.
Be'emnet, who has been here longest, he has been here about 5 years, I think 6 years. He came in to go to college, so his aunt lives here, and his mom comes frequently. The young ladies came in to go to school, and they are closer with the young people.
The Ardunyas worked at Good Samaritan Hospital.
Well-mannered, well-disciplined, very hardworking, nice ladies.
Which is why he and others were not only shocked, but devastated to see what happened on Sunday. All 3 were found shot inside a Mount Washington home. 2 died at the scene, and one of the women died at the hospital.
3 at a time. People are looking at this and saying 3. Yeah, 1 is a lot.
Well, Amsalu tells me that the Ethiopian community here is small, with only about 3,000 people. He says they're very tight-knit and calls this tragedy the worst his community has seen in almost his 30 years here.
In our culture, see, the main thing is there is a lot of fear. It's just, this happened. It could be my daughter next. This could be my son.
I ain't feel like playing that whole thing. The point that I'm trying to make here is
killing 19-year-old Dakara Thompson will face a judge for the first time.
Randy Ayala is outside the courthouse in Upper Marlboro with more on the suspect and what we're learning from the court documents. Good morning, Randy.
Yeah, good morning. Hugo Hernandez Mendez will face a judge for a bond hearing 1:15 this afternoon. The court will determine if he should remain behind bars. The 35-year-old is now charged with 1st and 2nd degree murder. Now, county officials tell us that he is originally from Guatemala. He's been living in the country illegally. Investigators believe he killed Dakara Thompson inside his Bowie home early the morning of August 23rd, then drove her body to Route 50 between Route 424 and 97 in Annapolis and threw her over a bridge. The court documents show Hernandez Mendez told police he was at the Galaxy nightclub on University Boulevard. That's across the street from where Dakara was seen on surveillance video getting in his black SUV. Now, he claims he was supposed to meet his ex-girlfriend but never did. He denied any involvement in Dakara's murder and then asked for a lawyer. Now, nonprofit Prince George's County, that's where Dakara worked, releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "We are devastated, hurt, saddened, and angry by this tragic and senseless loss. Our hearts and..."
So again, the point that I'm trying to make here is we have an illegal. We have an illegal. We have a white guy killing some black Ethiopians in Cincinnati. We have an illegal killing this black girl in Maryland, and we have a black guy killing a Ukraine refugee in Charlotte. This is not a race thing. It is about failed public policies, defunding police when you should be funding the police more, and an influx of illegal migrants under a failed prior administration. So I can't stand when these fake ass conservatives or liberals or whatever the hell you want to call yourselves, they get on social media and they want to sit up here and say, oh, it's a black thing. It has nothing to do with race. So why do you insert race? If race has nothing to do with it, then why are you speaking? Why are you inserting race in it? Stick to the facts. And the fact of the matter is, women in America are at risk of being harmed, whether it's by your neighbor, your boyfriend, an illegal, a lunatic. Women are vulnerable. I think at a much higher rate today in 2025 than any other time. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say any other time, but women and children are always the most vulnerable population. So why are we talking about race and not talking about policies? You know, the Jason Whitlocks and all those raccoons. This is not about race because we have an illegal Hispanic, a white guy, and a schizophrenic, crazy black guy committing murder. Charlotte train massacre, the final straw for Black Lives Matter. What in the hell does that have to do with that woman being murdered? Again, inserting race into something that has nothing to do with race. And so when you do that, you are completely avoiding the problem. And the problem is too many failed public policies. The problem is these public officials, these politicians, not taking accountability for their lack of judgment, for not doing their job, for taking advantage of the people that they're supposed to be serving. If we did not have open borders, if the Biden administration did not allow over 10 million, 15 million people to come into this country, a lot of people would be alive right now. There will be less crime. You wouldn't need National Guards in urban cities. So what are we really talking about here? What is the real issue here? Is it race? No. And that's why I just think people on the left and on the right, they are so disingenuous. Because they only go to race because they know race sells. And people want views and want clicks. People don't want solutions. They don't want resolutions. They don't. People don't want peace. People feed off of racism. It's embedded in all of us. So I don't want to hear shit about, that lunatic in Charlotte, Black Lives Matter fell. I don't want to hear none of that. Let me see. Thank you, Courtney, for the super chat. Says young niggas here in Chicago ain't gonna do shit to the National Guards because they do shit when ICE pull up. They don't do shit when ICE pull up. And this also shows you how weak law enforcement is here in Chicago. Why young ends believe that they can take on the military. Yeah, they're delusional, these young guys. They're so delusional. Because they think that the military is the same as your local police officer. And no, it's not. It's not the same. Typo ain't gonna do shit. They didn't do shit. My bad. I'm driving in Texas. Girl, don't be driving in Texas. Thank you, Courtney, but don't drive in Texas. Don't. Thank you, Shay. Danny, look cute. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Peer character dancing in the ring. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Okay. Yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing. They're not gonna do nothing. Is that it? I had a lot of stuff. And the reason why I had a lot of stuff is because I gotta chop this stuff up. Oh, honey, and did y'all see? Oh, one more thing. Let me just show this for fun. I'm tired of these white liberals. So remember over the weekend, it was a protest in DC, in Chicago. They were all white. There were no black people. They were all white. They were all white. And this was already promoted. These are paid protesters. This was already organized. These are people that come out of state into a city to protest. National Guards coming in, like, chow by. Just a hot mess. Again, people don't want solutions. They don't. They just want to keep throwing gasoline on something. People feed off of negativity. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you again on Wednesday with Dana with the Data podcast. I'm gonna call the judge this week to see what's up, to see how everything is going. Thank you again, Courtney, but I'm not a girl you a guy. Oh, okay. Your name is Courtney, but that is a unisex name because Courtney B. Vance, the actor. Okay, I just assumed you were a girl because I always put the name Courtney with a girl. And thank you, Walter, for the Cash App. Thank you. Sorry, Courtney, you are a man, not a girl. Okay. All right. Oh, I had the South Korea. I'll do that shit later. All right, guys, that's it. See you on Wednesday. Make sure you comment in the comment section, share this video, like this video, and shout out to everybody on X. Shout out to everybody on X. Love you guys on X. Thank you guys for tuning in.